Well, hey there. Welcome to Tea in Space. My name's Tom. This is Space. I'd like to talk about my town. My city. This city, Penticton, that I live in. Interesting town. In that it's not that interesting. Beautiful, but not interesting. Bland. Is that where you're going with? You're just gonna put down your town the whole time? Pretty much. This town has not given anything to me. Well, did you try? Yeah. Doesn't matter how hard you try when the cards are stacked against you. When it's not designed for everybody to win, only a few to win. To succeed, you gotta be cutthroat. To win in this town, you gotta be willing to screw people over quickly on a dime. Play them for a bit and then screw them over. Play them, screw them over. Hey, I'll tell you what, I'll give you a job. Now you do this job for me. There's gonna be more jobs coming your way, but I'm not gonna pay you that much this time, right? Because you need to do the work that's required to get into this group. You do the job, don't hear back from them because either you didn't get paid or they paid you so little and you require something the next time and then they don't use you and just go on to somebody else. That's what they do. They go on to somebody else and they say, hey buddy, you want a job? Tell you what, I'm gonna pay you half price right now. You know, you still make money, but you do this job for me and there'll be more jobs coming your way. The work will be flowing. Then I'd like to talk about the types of jobs that are here in this community. Tourist town, but what's actually offered here? Well, you got the channel, you got a few restaurants, you know, the lake. You know, people come here to kind of save money and go on vacation, not really spend money. Especially now. I was talking to my mom yesterday. I'm not really sure if this is true, but someone check the numbers for me. But this year, the beaches seem packed. But it does not seem like there's the disposable money anymore like there was in years past. So people aren't really spending. There's very few people now that are comfortable. Did you have to pronounce all the syllables in that word? Yes. Comfortable. Very few people. People making ends meet in this town. Barely. Come fall, winter, spring, you think last year was hard. Just wait. If we let it go too long, just wait until what next year looks like. Because when things are bad and you don't do anything about it, they get exponentially worse as time progresses. So how urgent is it to work towards some kind of optimal change for everybody? How important is this? Well, I'm going to tell you, it's probably one of the most important things in our lifetime, now, today, that we can do. Now, what are you talking about, Tommy? You're talking in generalities. Yeah and no. Because it's pretty simple. Treat people fairly. Have business transactions that are fair. Everybody wins. Always look for a win-win-win situation. If somebody's losing, that's not a good situation to be in. That's not a good deal. That's someone taking advantage of somebody else. So, I don't think, over the course of my lifetime, 49 years, I don't think we've understood it to be something important to change. The greed. I don't think it's important to many of us because we've got caught up in it. And then we've shut off our center. And compassion is not at the forefront. It's, what can I get? That'll make me happy. For a bit. And it's back to the same old drudgery, trying to keep up with what everybody else is doing. New car, new furniture for your new house, get further into debt. The banks in this town, for some people, they love it when you're in debt because it keeps the machine moving. The shitty machine. This rusted, dilapidated, ugly, huge machine needs to keep running so that these people that are in power in my city, I'm not even talking about the country or the world, in my city, we gotta dismantle this big machine Why are we working so hard? Why are we contributing to our government that does nothing for us? COVID-19. You remember that little thing? Oh, it's still going on? I'm looking at the signs over here in the park that I hang out in. Butterfly. No, dragonfly. Oh, look at that. That's a dragonfly. And they're fast. Highly maneuverable, these dragonflies. They can fly backwards, forwards, upside down. You want to know how to get around quick? You just have to look at nature and replicate it. It's a lot easier than what we're doing. Nah, to get around quick, we like to have our combustion engines and our gasoline-driven vehicles. That's how we like to get around. We don't care if it fuccan ruins the atmosphere or it sends pollutants in the air and we breathe it in. We die earlier as a result. We don't care about that. We don't care about the fact that, driving a car can be fast, I guess. But if you were working with different technologies and energies, well, you don't know what fast is. So we've settled for something less than what we are capable of. Which makes absolutely no sense to me. In my town, Penticton, space, behind me, there's a dam. And basically that dam was probably used just to create this land that I'm sitting on right now. This is part of the river. This is where it all kind of washed through. But to create more land, they plugged it over there. So now that we plugged it, it's debatable whether or not that was a good idea to begin with. But they had their reasons back then. But today, here we sit with all that power coming through that dam, and we're not using it. We could be supplying free power to a good number of people in this town, cutting down their costs because it's necessary. There's no industry in this town. There's no opportunities in this town. Very few opportunities to do what you want, enjoy. When it comes to the arts, it's not that it doesn't exist, because arts exist. We got installations on the beach, right? Somebody's doing okay. Got a contract from the city, I guess, but how many people get these contracts? 1, 2 people. Artists in my town are expected to work for free and then get a job to support their art, because it's not as important as plugging yourself back into the fucking machine. I'm in a mood. I just woke up late. Nah, same mood as I'm in most times. There are things that are on my mind frequently. This is one of them. I tell my kids that they can do anything they want to do. Be anything they want to be. Make decisions. Go any route you want to go. You can do that. Did you know that? Yeah, right, Dad. I know, you told me. Yeah, I believe it. Well, it's getting increasingly harder to do that, kids. Because the system that you're working within is holding you back. So, why participate in that system? So now I'm talking to my kids. I've already talked to them about this already, so this is nothing new. Okay, I'm going to talk to your kids. Oh, please don't talk to my kids. I'm going to talk to your kids now. So we have a system, and it's integrated. We have schooling, industry, whatever we call industry now. We've got government. We've got government jobs like hospital, doctor, lawyer, accountant, tax revenue. Boy, they really know how to supply the jobs, don't they? Very interesting jobs. Highly motivated to explore my opportunities in this neighborhood. You know, the funny thing is, though, that these jobs that were deemed so fucking important during a crisis like COVID-19, a crisis, I'm trying to do quotes, but I can't because I'm holding this thing. A crisis? During a crisis, the propaganda that everybody's contributed to in our government and our local governments comes from the federal government, comes down to the local government. Guess what? Those institutions shut down during the time of panic. Where do you go to when you're in trouble and you're going through a pandemic and your government tells you that you need to be inside, alone, with no end in date, no end in sight, sorry. And then they go into their homes and their mansions in the fucking sky. They lock their gates. They wait it out. These people that run our city, they left when we needed them most. Let's say you get beat by the RCMP. Let's say you're sitting in the park. And, I don't know. Let's say you have an altercation with the bylaw. Verbal. Not physical. Verbal. It gets loud because they accuse you of doing something you didn't do, right? Then they start videoing it. And then the other guy starts calling the RCMP. Hey, we need backup here. We got a guy who disagrees with us. I remember that guy sitting on his pillow waiting for the RCMP to come by. Silently waiting in protest of the fact that, first of all, this was happening. Second of all, that the RCMP had to be called in the fucking first place. Silent protest. They come up to the guy and they go, "What's going on here?" 6 of them. Right? The guy stays silent, sitting on his pillow, cross-legged, much like I am, like I am right now. And then you hear something like, "All right, let's take him." Put the guy on the fucking... Well, they try to pick him up, to carry him. Excuse me. serious. This happened. I swear it happened. I saw it with my own 2 eyes. So the guy's sitting like this, as far as I remember anyways. You can correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody else remembers seeing it. The guy was sitting there just like this. You know? They pick him up. And he stays the same. And they don't like carrying shit, right? Because they're lazy as shit, man. But they're violent. Oh, these ones are violent, man. I've never seen a beating like this for a while. Because I've been beaten before. In fact, one of the times I was beaten, it was in Vancouver years back when my wife was pregnant. 6 guys, same. Long story. I was breaking up a fight because they were going to kill a guy. And they converged on me after I was, did my thing. Guess what? The RCMP was videotaping the whole thing the whole time, didn't step in. Didn't know it either at the time. Found out later. This is what the RCMP does. So anyways, long story short, that guy in the park got the beating of his life, tortured him, kicked him. They couldn't pry his this apart. So it took 6 of them to kick the shit out of him so they didn't have to carry him to the vehicle. And then they put a bag over his head, bleeding. Couldn't breathe. Don't know what happened to him in that prison. I hear he got strangled with his own tie on his shirt, and they did the same thing to him in the cell. Knee on the fucking head, cold floor, no representation, no charges, no food, no water. 12 hours, I think, approximately. They'll have to tell you. They've got the records of it. So this is what the RCMP does. We have been paying for this service for how long? Lifetime. God, I hope it's not me next time. I'm sitting in the park and I get attacked by 6 dudes in uniform. Bats and spray, tasers, guns, and the badge to do it. I hope it's not my kids next time they're in the park and they disagree. Right? So how important is this? Anybody? Well, if you didn't know, that happened to me 2.5 months ago. In this park, on the other side of local landing, behind the Rose Garden, on sacred land. When I left that prison at around 2 a.m. that morning, I had to hold my pants up. They're all ripped. Shit, my balls are fucking hanging out. I walk home, my bare feet, but before I do, before they let me go, they take a picture of me. Yeah? Give me a bag. Well, later they give me a bag. They take a picture of me first. Bloody fucking mess, right? Then they give me a bag saying property of Attorney General. Got my pillow in there that I was sitting on, my sandals. No, I'll walk home in my bare feet. Thanks. It'll take me forever to walk home in sandals. So when they let me out, what did they say? They didn't ask me anything. They didn't say you were charged with anything. They didn't do shit. All they said was, we're putting you down as Caucasian. Let it sit in. We're putting you down as Caucasian. What the fuck? After everything that's happened, that's your concern? You don't know what to put down in the fucking form? No, I say. You put me down as indigenous, right? I didn't say it like that, though. I said, no, put me down as indigenous. That's how I said it. Something like that. And as I made my way out those first doors, and then they locked it, now I'm between two doors that are fucking locked again, right? No one said, we'll drive you home. Oh, we made a mistake. Well, we're really sorry about it. You should never have had that happen to you. Blah, 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 blah. Nothing. You know what I got? Opened up the next door. And now what do I see? A sea of police officers in their cars watching me as I walk through. How many cars were there that day in the back? Are you aware now? Are you aware that I exist now? Do you know who I am? Not that it matters too much, because it's not my story. This story is about all of us. It's happened before. It will happen again. If you don't think it will and you don't stop it, it's going to happen to your kids. It's going to happen to your mom. It's going to happen to your dad. It's going to happen to your cousin. It's going to happen to your best friend. You know, the crazy ones. You know, the indigenous ones. You know! Right? So, cause for concern? Fuck yeah. In Canada, in the eastern part of Canada, just saying Canada, they're trying to pass a law that allows the police, the RCMP, the federal fucking police that are in our towns and have been in our towns for a long time, to come into your house for any reason and shoot you dead. They've gotten away with it already. It's happened in the United States. I think that's what the riots were all about in Portland. 57 days straight. 57 days straight. That's staying power. A group of people getting together and stating what is right and what is fucking awful. Staying power. Follow through. How important is it to have follow through? Very. I was talking to my mom yesterday. We went for coffee, went to Naramata, sat on the beach, talked about these things and some others. She says we're at war. We're not at war with COVID-19. We're at war with the institutions that are putting us through all this shit. And the institutions are a manifestation of whatever we thought of in the past. So it came from us. So if it's not working, if the machine's not working, tear the fucking machine down. Start from scratch with that. I don't want to start from scratch with everything. We have the internet, computers, technology. I'd like to keep that. Yeah? And I like to have access to all of it. But these people who are in government, the United States in particular, Canada is not innocent by far. But you got a warring nation like the United States of America, Russia, occupying everything, even space. Idiots. Force, fear. This is what they use. They control you by fear. So they go by these written storylines, the propaganda. And today we find ourselves, the main propaganda is COVID-19, because it's pretty much 80-90% of the news right now. Counting deaths, counting cases, trying to get ahead of a fucking virus, introducing another vaccine. I wonder why. I wonder how these vaccines have actually shaped our collective mind over the last little while. Years. Tens of years. If you want to know why you're in a foggy haze most of the time, you want to know why you're depressed, or you're this and that, your life's not going quite right and you can't seem to get ahead, it might have something to do with it. Get a job. That's what everybody's saying to each other. Just get a job. Stop being lazy. Stop complaining. Stop whining. Well, maybe that's not the answer, friend. Maybe that's not the simple answer that we're looking for, because that's going to go towards the problem. That's embracing the problem. That's saying the problem's fine. We're okay with it. Let's go to work. Here's your coffee. I brought coffee for everybody. Well, that was nice of Jim. That was nice of Jim. We're living half lives. We keep on halving the halves and splitting our lives into like categories and, you know, putting numbers to it. Well, the science says. You don't fucking know about science. Do you know what science is, friend? It's one of the only religions that's not recognized as a religion. The things that scientists talk about, if they're good scientists, they'll tell you that they don't really know a heck of a lot. All they know is the categories, maybe. They can see the pieces. If they've chopped it up enough times. But you chop it up, there's an unlimited number of times that you can chop something up. And by that time, you're left with a number of pieces. How do you fucking put it together again? Can you put it together again? Because that's the main thing. If you can put it all back together again. But no, we just destroy it. Build like these huge colliders And they send particles, one at one end, one at another end. It goes for miles and miles, and then they send it around, and boom! One spot. Bam! Well, you just broke it apart again. Okay. Can you put it back together? Like how it was? No? Well, that's weird. You didn't really learn anything, did you? Oh no, we're learning something. We know about the God particle now. Oh, the God particle, really? You just named it. So now it's something. That's the big discovery? So in my town, what do we have, science-wise? We have the doctors. Yeah? I can't get a hold of my doctor. Yeah? Sent x-rays in. The hospital had to do it for me. What kind of doctors do we have in this town? When I went for my x-rays, the first thing the doctor said to me was about 2-3 days later, after the incident, after I got beat by 6 RCMP officers. He said to me, I'm not going to give you any pain medication. He was fucking very adamant about it. And he was treating me like a piece of shit, because I look like a piece of shit. And also the RCMP probably called that in, thinking that I was going to go that night after the beating. No, I'm not going to go to the hospital by myself. That would be silly. Do not go to the hospital by yourself. Make sure somebody is there with you, knows where you are. Because during these times, these unprecedented times of COVID-19, you want to make sure that you get out of that hospital alive. Yeah? So I get my x-rays. Everybody is pretty good, actually. The technology that we have to look inside the human body is pretty fucking incredible. And the people that operate these machines, not bad. Good people. It's these fucking doctors that think they know. It's these fucking nurses at the top that should be expressing compassion, but express the opposite. There's a few of them, but they're all at the top. Administrators. That's our science. Oh, kids nowadays, we got lots of exciting jobs. How do you feel about tracing or contact tracing? It's science. No, it the fuck is not. It's control. All these jobs will come out, right? You know what? You know what my town really needs right now? More plexiglass. Well, I should get that plexiglass thing going again. Remember we were doing plexiglass? Yeah. PPE. Hey, I know where to get some PPE for cheap. I'll buy it all up, and then I'll sell it for $10 a pop for a mask. That doesn't work for the application that you're using it for. Keep feeding the machine. Keep feeding it. Keep feeding it, then we're going to lose it all. Ta-da! Few of us know this. Not many, though. Not many want to actually understand exactly what's going on because they got their blinders on, they got their fucking heads in the fucking ground, and they don't want to know. It's so easy to do something different. I'm not here to complain. I'm here to point out. I'm here to draw attention to the fact, and then get together with some people and find new solutions. Better solutions that serve everybody. Just when you need all these people who make all these decisions, they make these decisions, make it hell for so many people, you can't get a hold of them. City Hall's closed down. Well, I think it's open till noon now. But you most likely can't get in without a mask. So you can't talk to anybody. I don't know if that's true. Is that true? That might not be true. But what I do know is true is that the city, what they did to the market on Saturday, having people lining up on the other street down the block to get into a fucking market, is insanity. And the fact that people are lining up to go to a market, that you should just be able to kind of go in and out. No. They got lines for you to follow. Outside now, not just in the malls. Oh, I got another business for you. Hey, how are we going to show where people need to walk in malls? I tell you what, I got this design. It's based on the circle. And what we do is we put, I don't know, we say that, what's the distance that we got to keep? Is that 6 feet? Okay, so we say 6 feet apart, and then we put arrows where they walk. And then people will know where to walk. Man, that's a good business idea. You can do that to all the dying malls in town and in your city. Pretty exciting job prospects. Let's say you've worked in the restaurant industry, and recently you lost your job because of COVID-19, and the government's been paying you, to stay at home. The CERB check that people are receiving. But then when that runs out, what happens? You think you're going to get your job back? That one that you actually kind of enjoyed? Kinda? Some of you most likely not. Most of you most likely not, because that industry is getting fucked over. You can only have so many people in your restaurant now. A certain percentage of occupancy. At one time, you had a business that had an occupancy of 100 people on any given day, and now, what is it? Let's just say it's cut in half, because I think that's at least cut in half. Let's see. That's the thing that's happening now. Not to talk about how the prices are actually going to go up in these places, and only the rich will be able to eat out anymore. Do you think the same people are going to be in those jobs? They're automating everything. People become greedy. So people don't get hired back. Or they hire people back, but they don't hire the old people back, because the people that were working there before were getting paid a certain amount of money. If you don't hire them back, you can hire someone else at a lower wage, minimum. One example. How many more examples are out there? We're counting the wrong numbers. Friends, family, we're counting the wrong numbers. COVID-19 numbers, highly inflated in the United States. They need the numbers to be high so that they can blame. The government can blame the economy coming to a crash on COVID-19 when that's not the reason. Mismanagement. Greed. Pride. So here we are, another day. Meanwhile, in Siberia, hey buddy, your igloo's on fire. What? Yeah, you might want to get out of there. You can watch CNN anytime you want, but I'm just saying that your fucking house is on fire. You might want to get out. Mainstream media, CNN, Fox News, CNBC, BBC, CBC, ABC, 1, 2, 3, all of them, owned. Owned by very powerful people that own governments, countries, pharmaceutical companies, all sorts of different companies, oil, all the shitty companies. They don't want you to get well. It doesn't serve them. If everybody's well, if everybody's living a whole life, then we would have no need for these institutions or the people that work within them. My government tried to kill me. Oh, this is barely breathe in this room. My country tried to kill me. My government, right? RCMP, federal government. So anybody who disagrees gets the fucking axe. And then you see people out with their pitchforks. Hey, we got ourselves a witch here. Let's burn them. I'm one of the unfortunate ones that can't die. I will not be putting myself through this again. What do we have to do to convince you that is not convinced yet and is just kind of sitting on the fence? What do we have to do to convince you that there's something wrong? Do we have to die? Does someone have to die before we do something about the RCMP in our town? Like, do we have to be aware of someone in our immediate family that got killed by an RCMP member or tortured? Does this have to go further to understand that there's a real fucking problem here? My story, which is our story, it's everybody's story. It's a collective story. But my story has no holes in it. Fully documented. It's known, not even questioned anymore, that something shitty happened. I hope somebody doesn't notice. God, I hope he doesn't talk anymore. We better shut him up. Let's get him. Knees, knees, knees. Choking, knees. Bag, knees. Isolation, knees. Fuck you. So I'm hiding in plain sight. I'm at the Beaumont Motel, 80 Riverside Drive in Penticton, British Columbia, Canada. Room 240. V2A 5W3. I believe that's the postal code. That's where I live. That's my home. RCMP are there a lot. Have been. Pre-summer. But don't be deceived, people who come to Penticton, British Columbia, Canada for their holidays and think, well, this is a really nice place to live, because in the summer, it's much different. You know, all the people that were partying in this park last night, drinking and stuff and having a good time, that would never happen any other time unless you're here, because you're so important to the economy. No, if that happened during the other parts of the year, they would send the squad down. Yeah, who are we gonna send down? Oh, let's send down the guys that know how to deal with these guys. Absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. Every time. And that's what they got. Period. And they need to be taken out of the situations that they're in. They've been trained wrong, blah, blah, blah. Maybe they're violent already. Maybe some of them have to go out in the fucking woods and see if they can survive on their own. Isolate it. Isolate the one or two or fucking how many people. There's more of them in here in Penticton, for sure. But everybody's got their story. Everybody has to answer for it. Everybody. Me too. I'll answer. I'll be the first in line to answer for anything. You got a question? You want to know how it went down? Okay. Well, let's check your records. Now you got to answer it. Why were you a part of that? Why didn't you step up? Why didn't you step in the middle when you saw that someone that was on the ground, already apprehended, already, never put up a fight the whole time, was getting beaten, and you stood around and you fucking watched it? Right? You watched it. So you're responsible. You're fucking responsible, right? Well, you didn't have to swear there, Tom. Nope. I didn't have to raise my voice either. But sometimes it does put a point on it. The urgency should be dialed up. That was nice. Good talk. Welcome to Tea in Space. My name's Tom. This is Space. It's Monday. I got 4% battery life on my computer. July 27th, 2020. Final thoughts. Violence is never the answer. Ever. Violence only creates more violence, so it never solves problems. We just get into other more complicated problems, but the solution is very simple. Problem's complicated, the solution's simple. Love each other as you would have someone love you. Treat each other as someone that, because you don't even know what love means anyways. Most of us don't love. What does it mean? Well, treat each other as you would have them treat you. It's pretty simple. You narrow it down like this, that's all it takes, right? A little compassion, a little kindness, a little generosity, care. If you did that, if we all did that, violence, there's no room for violence. It wouldn't exist. It's not our true nature. Our true nature is to be, to allow, to accept. That's our true nature. Don't let them separate you. Don't let them tell you that you can't get, that you can't be in groups, that you can't congregate and discuss issues like this or anything else. Don't let them tell you you can't go to a concert. Don't let them tell you you can't go to the market without waiting in a fucking line. Don't let them tell you how to live your life. Stand up. Be accounted for. Get some fucking skin in the game, man. We're at fucking war. Stand in the middle. Use your voice boxes. Take your phones out. Video. Everything. Then you take their power away. That's how you do it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for listening. If at any point you see any holes in what I'm saying, please comment. If you question any truth in my story or what I'm saying, question it. Don't believe me. Question it. And maybe together we can get to a point where we're all on the same page and we're acting as one cohesive unit. That's what they don't want. Thank you.